Are you going to prohibited activities?
I am, yes. 5064 from the activities.
S, is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
All right, so just so we're clear, so he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And word for word is.
All right, Mr. Crucell, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and again, with that definition, law, it even, that goes back to our showing that even Jeeps and trucks, they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles off-road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh, hey, we don't like you, so here, we're gonna slap with an ORV fine for any vehicle that's capable of going off-road, because that's just what they want to claim it as. I mean, that's just so ambiguous, it's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested and stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had 200 encounters with this officer. He's a new hire. And what happened was, this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. I mean, it's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling, saying we're reckless driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling. And they stopped coming out. And Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys. We're not doing nothing wrong. And this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dave. You gotta go do it. This has already been taken care of. This guy keeps calling. You even told this lady, when they call him freaking
Dispatcher?
put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls. And that's why they stopped coming out. I told him this. And then, but yeah, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can figure this out. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a missing match in the left. I mean, I know his body cam's out, I've seen it. And that's why part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts of the stuff, that other body cam that I know is missing, I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer Smith, they're in body cam even talking that they were purposely, all that officers, is it side or like, yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws, because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And he and the only reason he found that out was because he had to call the FOIA lady, Jill Evans. And then the original officer that stopped me, he couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up, because he was on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time, up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, and in the very beginning, I got a default order that's unsigned, didn't have.
Oh, no, brother, no, brother. Hold on, stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. Nobody from Huron Township called up here to one of my clerks and said screwing. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with it. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
Conversations. I'm being told from people that work in the department that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower, and you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction, so a default enters.
No, and I want to say it's worse stuff.
Hold on. I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanors and civil infractions. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
I got pretty much all my arguments for being in. I mean, this is clearly, but
What's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cams.
He was also recording this incident himself. So he
Well,
has,
that's a different issue though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he didn't provided those.
he's filed at least 10 FOIA requests for township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to, but also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that. But you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets, yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing I'm filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff. I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well,
If it's not, that's okay.
well, I mean, it would also just kind of.
No, I just need to know. Because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm not probably I'm here. I'm
Okay, all right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is.
Okay,
It's going to pursue forward.
then we're going to need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so and so for this date and that date. All right.
Different name.
Sure. Go ahead.
As I said, he has been given all of those. It's my understanding that he initially appealed the FOIA, which went to the township supervisor. The township supervisor acknowledged the redacted portions were legal material and returned back to Mr. Cusel. He then appealed the appeal, which went to my office, and we confirmed again that the only redactions are legal material. I think he's appealed us twice more. So it's not relevant for a portion of it.
Are you saying you never got the body cam footage, or you got the body cam footage and things were redacted?
Oh, well, those are part of the issues too. There's body cam stuff and that's the problem, is there's all sorts of stuff that's redacted in body cams and in the reports, and then there's stuff missing.
Okay, hold on. Then you acknowledge that they've sent you those body cam footages
So, okay.
for the interaction between you and the officer?
Again, the incident before specifically the one I want, and that I know is missing, is the one before he pulled me over, but the day before he pulled me over.
Okay.
Where I asked for.
Okay.
It's like a missing message trouble.
Prior to these tickets being issued, there was an interaction between that officer and yourself. That you've never seen the video,
No,
the body cam footage.
well, I've been.
Okay.
Again,
Do you know whether or not that's been submitted?
As far as I know, having a request of these days has been filled.
All right.
It is paid.
All right, but now you're talking about FOIA stuff. I'm talking about that body cam. That's all I'm talking about is one body cam. Okay, all right. But you can't, off the top of your head, you can't give me that incident date.
no, that wasn't.
All right. All right, so submit a formal request for body cam footage from that date to the prosecutor. She can check it out, see if it's been submitted to you prior. She can tell you when, she can resubmit it. She can file a motion with me and say, I'm not going to submit that because, and we'll go from there. All right, that's that one specific issue. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's get back to your argument, Mr. Crucell, that the language that we just went over is overly broad or vague. Let's hit that again. So is it the definition of the ORV that you think is overly broad?
Oh, absolutely. It basically encompasses any, they said, it even says, any vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of the road, right? And that's any vehicle, I mean, you can even take a smart car off the road if you wanted to, essentially. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, the way it just reads, they could just apply that anytime they want to any vehicle, whenever they want.
If I'm understanding your argument, I drive an F-150,
So,
all right? So we would probably agree that we could take that off the road. Do not.
In commercial, showing that's what they.
Right. So your argument is because they could write ORV on a roadway for that means this statute or this ordinance is overly broad. All right. Except they can't because the state of Michigan has licensed me to put my F-150 on the road.
But again, the same point, mine can be the same thing.
But it's not licensed. It can be. It can be. And I would like to see you do that, because then I want to see how they're going to keep you off the road. The state of Michigan said you can put that on the road.
But again, Your Honor, the whole reason that they're trying to dance around the whole thing, because if they didn't bring up none of the registration.
I know, you're getting back to the confusion
stuff, right? They're trying to use a definition of ORV to.
I get with the whole, you sat in the car 45 minutes, they decided what to do with you. I get all that. Okay. And that's problematic for me too. But I don't find this language to be overly broad, because there's the licensing aspect of it that narrows it.
There's that conflict there, right? And that also shows the ambiguity of it, right? So you're saying that if I want to pay a tax stamp for something, that now all of a sudden it's not this, but then they're trying to claim it's this. So how does a tag all of a sudden make this, not this? Doesn't make sense.
Hold on, you lost me.
If all of a sudden, so what they're trying to claim is an ORV, but if I magically go get a tax stamp put on it, right, register it, now it's automatically just a motor vehicle. So now it falls under.
Yeah, but hold on. It's not just about the money. And believe me, brother, I'm the first one to think I'm the first one to jump in the bandwagon with you about the government grabbing money. All right. I fight that here, but it's more than that, because let's just pick the specific example of an ORV. I could build myself a dune buggy, right? Completely manufactured. I couldn't, because I'm not handy that way. But I mean, you know what I mean. I could get tubular stock and build a frame, and I could grab a motor, an engine off of something else and fabricate a drivetrain, and I could have something that I could take off, go through the trails and the hills. Would you agree with me? No, but I mean, I'm just like, build it from scratch, right? I'm Henry Ford. I built it from scratch, and it's out there running around. But if I get it registered as a motor vehicle by the state of Michigan, they're putting their rubber stamp of approval on it, saying it's safe for me to put on their roads. There's a safety issue, not just a money grab. And that's the way I'm looking at this, because from my little bit of research, if I got to find it, if I want to go through the process to get my manufactured vehicle roadworthy, I've got to have tail lights. I've got high and low beam headlights. I've got to have turn signals front and rear. I got to have a rear view mirror. The state of Michigan is checking all these things off before they license me or register me to put it on the road. And they're saying, they being the state of Michigan, saying it's safe to get on the road with the F-150s that you and I drive.
Yeah, but again, you're giving an example of someone building something. The thing that my vehicle already comes quick and built and manufactured that way.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can guarantee you that if somebody took the time and researched what these roadworthy requirements were state by state, they would be different. There'd be similarities, but they'd be different. So for Terex to sell it and say it's roadworthy, they're not guaranteeing you that it's legal in Michigan. They can't.
Well, that's why I put those disclaimers on. The other thing too.
Stop. I'm not done with my argument. That's where the registration process comes from. The individual states saying, yeah, Crucell, we think your Terex is legal on Michigan roads. That's the whole part of the process that changes from just any old thing that they decide they want to ticket somebody because they had it on the roadway. They could claim it's an ORV. No, they can't, because it's registered, my F-150, your F-150. It's registered with the state of Michigan as a motor vehicle, i.e. legal to be on the roads. That's what kills your overly broad argument, is because there's a process by which it is no longer an ORV. It's now roadworthy because the state of Michigan is registered as such.
But again, the state of Michigan is arbitrarily trying to convert everyone's right to travel by saying
that's a different argument.
Yeah,
that's a different argument.
I get where you're trying to go with this. I understand that. But again, you look at this definition, and no one said anything. Again, this all goes back to, I was not cited for no registration. I was not cited for insurance. None of that stuff even was even brought up. It was strictly the ORV that they're trying to stick to. And again, by going off this definition, that can be any single vehicle in the world. Anything that they want is capable of going off road.
Well, but here's my ruling. Here's my ruling. Because there's a process to register vehicles, whether or not they're ORVs, F-150s, whatever they are, because there's a process in the state of Michigan is to register them as roadworthy. I don't think that's overly broad language, because I think you can't read everything in a vacuum. So my ruling is, on that motion, my ruling is I deny your motion that it's overly broad. I don't believe it is. But I still have problems with the way the whole thing went down. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that, because, and I think I've told you this from the beginning. I get it. Matter of fact, I think the first day you were here, I get it. You've had interactions with Huron Township police officers that said you're good. And now all of a sudden this guy says you're not good. And here we are. I mean, that's blatantly unfair. Whether or not it was accidental or by design is still like